Hi guys, welcome to this video. It's Monday, so I'm back again to talk to you about some orc scenery. Right, so last week I started by talking to you about, or rather I started showing you the all-white box that was the orc shanty town, or Ork Mek town, that I'd started to work on. That's been painted up, and this is that same box that I showed you last week. So I put some miniatures around it just to give you an idea of scale. I'm just going to move that one off to one side. That's the buggy. And here we go here. So I've added some extra details that you won't have seen last week, because I think last week all I had on it was some basic plating, and I don't think I'd done any of the rivets, but I had done all the spikes and things, and you won't have seen this bit here. So I'm just going to take these off. I'm going to use this one to give you an idea of scale. So there's a door on the side there, which if I grab this fella, to give you an idea of scale, this little fella can hunch over and go inside. And then we've got this ladder that he can climb up. And then on the other two sides, I think I've kept them fairly basic. Yeah, there's not much detail going on those two sides, as you can see there. So I'm just going to put those guys off in the background. I'll go over the main sort of characteristics of it first. So this bit here, which you can actually pick the thing up by, comes off. Now this is designed, I'm hoping to do a lot of pieces similar to this, that basically, I don't know if you can see the mechanism there, it basically hooks over the top, so there's a 1mm gap there, so that's designed to fit over the top of a 1mm lip, like the top of these buildings are, like that. And then this bottom bit here just sits against the side of the building and makes it look like there's a chimney coming out the side. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it look like they're less of a sort of basic cube, essentially. The reason that they are a cube, if you didn't see the last video, I'll quickly show you now. This thing comes apart, so just pop the lid out. There we go. Of course, the main reason for the lid is that it has these little latches on it, and the little latches keep the thing held together, because if I apply pressure here, pop, the thing comes apart like that. Now you can see how I've painted this thing. Oh, there's the backs. What I did was I sprayed it grey, and then I hit it with a black through the airbrush, then I hit it with brown, then I hit it with orange, in a really erratic manner, getting less each time. Then what I've done is, it's probably easier to show you on these bits here. Then I hit the bottom with the sand colour along with the top here, just to make it look like some sand had got onto the top where the orcs stand and been worked into all the cracks. And then I dry brushed it with a silver all over. This bit here hasn't been dry brushed with the silver, so that looks why it looks a bit weird, but I have actually painted this whole bit with silver. It needs some soot bits added to it, and it's a really simple design, this bit. I need to redo, or rather make bits like this that are a bit more complex, really sort of more ornate versions of chimney stacks and weird and wonderful things that would hang on the side of these buildings. So the actual paint job is really simple. Now I tried to rough up the edges, didn't do a fantastic job of it. I used a file actually rather than my normal method, which is to actually carve out the sides with a hobby knife. I'm not happy with the result I got on the edges using the file, and so I'm going to go back when I do the next few of these to actually carving the edges with the hobby knife. It takes a little longer, but I think it's worthwhile, because when you actually come in and do the silver dry brush, you get a much nicer finish, and I think that's an important step. We're not going to actually get any detail on the main plate bits in the background here, which is fine, because that's just there to give you a bit of detail on the background. But on the main sort of bits that stand out, like these edges here, you need to have a nice bit of detail. So I'm just going to quickly pop this back together. If it will go. Sometimes when you paint these things, they become a little bit more stiff to put together. There we go. That goes together like At this point, it's actually a fairly good structure, but this bit really sort of makes it stay together by sitting on top and clamping these two sides in place. And then, like I say, this bit here is designed to fit in between the spikes, and some places it doesn't fit too well, as you can see there, because that bit there is lying against a bit of a spike and a bit of a rivet, so it doesn't work too well. But there's quite a few places where it does work really nicely, like that bit there fits quite nicely next to the door, and then there's a bit here as well where it fits really nicely, and then there's, I think it fits, yeah, it fits there quite nicely as well. So there's quite a few places it does fit, and of course any buildings I make, any other buildings I make, this will also fit on that as well. Oh, I've just noticed here, there's a particular side for this now because of the way I've painted it. I should have painted it while it was apart. This section of wall here, because of how I painted it, needs to go on that side there. That one there seems to fit fine on that one. Interesting. Although it's not that noticeable in the grand scheme of things. There's just a slight black line there, which is, it's annoying, but it's not too bad. Other things that I've actually come up with to break up the shape is that. So this is an old, it was designed for the fort. There's a little shack that you can sort of put orcs under, a little hut if you will. Whether you put it on top of the roof or whether you put it against like the side of a building, once it's painted up, it alters the shape of the overall building. That should add some variation. Also, the wind turbine fits. It'll obviously sit like in the middle of the roof without any problems, but it also fits on the edge of the roof as if it was on top of the wall. So it's not as stable as if it was on top of the fort wall, because this actual edge here needs to be a little bit taller. But yeah, it sits nicely on top of the fort wall, and of course everything here flat packs. Even this thing here comes apart like that, and of course this does as well. I say it flat packs, most of it flat packs. This bit here doesn't. Everything else does. It's just how I work. So my plans are to make more of this size, and use bits like this to change the shape. And then when I've run out of ways of changing the shape and altering like the profile of the buildings, when I've run out of ideas for doing that, then I'm going to think of ways of I'm gonna start making different sized ones, maybe smaller ones and bigger ones that they can stack either on top or underneath of, so they stack on top of each other, a bit like you see some of the actual Infinity buildings do. Like I said in the last video, maybe have some angled walls and some funky shaped ones, so that can become a little bit tricky. I'd like to keep them as modular as possible. I also have some plans of having some on legs so that they stand off the ground as well. So a bit like a water tower. So I can keep the same design, I can have the same side walls, but instead of having this corner sections just covered up by these two wider plates, I basically just extend them out the bottom. And then the whole thing will just sit off the ground, and then I can extend, where are they? Extend these ladders down to the ground. That's the plan anyway. So they will share the same roof, and I can use all the same sort of details on them, and it'll be awesome, and it'll all come together, and before you know it, I'll have this modular orc table with lots of the shanty buildings, and I'll have a mech town. I'm also going to bring back a building that I made for the fort, which had a curved roof on it. I haven't got that out of a box yet, it's hidden in a box somewhere. There's an old video, I'll see if I can find it, where basically it was flat packed but the roof bends and attaches to the top, and it's got like, it's hard to describe, but anyway, so I'm gonna find that, and I'm gonna try and incorporate that into the Ork Mek town as well. Let's give it a different shaped building, a nice curved topped building. That'll be pretty cool. That'll give it some variation in shape. But yeah, so I just wanted to share with you guys how this came out, because I am really happy with how it looks. Nice little door going on, and of course the little ladder up to the roof, and the paint job was so quick and easy that I could paint these up in no time at all. In fact, I wasted so much paint because of how much I put into the airbrush when I did this, and I sprayed it up in a matter of minutes. It was ridiculous how quick, once I got the black undercoat on, how quickly this thing painted up. It was astonishing. So when I paint up the next lot, I'm going to have to build quite a few of these, I think, in order to not waste any more paint. So yes, so I wanted to show you guys where I was with this, and get your thoughts on it, and see what you thought of the details that I've added on this before I go on and make a load more. Basically, I'm really chuffed. Yeah, really happy with it, and yeah, see what your thoughts are on the additions of adding this sort of thing, either to the sides or to the top, just to make the buildings different shapes and sizes, and add some variation, because like I said, I'd really like to try and keep the buildings to this shape and size wherever possible, because if I can keep to this same design, then I can knock out loads of them really quickly, and yeah, crack on. Really nice, like that. Right then, I think that's all I wanted to cover. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Stay well, guys.